Let me take a few text messages that have come in. This one's from Alfred. Alfred is saying, good morning. Can you please ask Ra Garvey for me if he has ever been to the church, and if so, has he ever experienced what it's like to be in a church?
Yes, I grew up in the church.
You grew up in the church?
Of course, yeah, I grew up. I grew up in the church. My family was Seventh-day Adventist Christians. And so, yes, I've been to church, and I learned at church through most of my childhood. And then I gained, I guess, a different understanding within my adulthood. So, yeah, I've definitely been to church.
Then at which point did you realize that, okay, maybe this is not for me? There's something else out there?
I think around the age of about 20, 21, I started asking questions. And what I found was the questions couldn't be answered. And so I had to go on a search for myself and try and answer them for myself.
Okay. All right. Here there's a comment on Facebook. Keep sending your comments coming in, okay? I will read your comments. It's GNTV UK. Go onto our Facebook page, or Talk Africa, and leave your comments on there. If you want to call into the studio, it's 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. And this is from Erica. Erica is saying, why is it so hard for people to grasp the fact that everything is everything, which is energy? The source is energy. LOL. Okay. Thanks, Erica.
I agree.
You agree. All right, then let's try and move this on. Reverend,
yes,
a lot of people, we cannot doubt the impact of what religion, faith, has had on the world. But now there is a decline in people actually going to church, because first and foremost, some people are beginning to ask questions. There's certain questions that they feel as though the church are not giving them the answer to. And as Sarah is saying here, people are starting to realize that maybe the church was just there to just control people. What would you say to people like that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that it depends on the geography of the area you're talking about. There isn't a decline in church attendance globally, but there might be the decline in church attendance in certain parts of the world, especially in the Western world.
Yeah.
And statistically, there's a huge growth in people's faith in different parts of the world, including Latin America, Africa, Asia. In the Western world, looking at the London scene that I have done a lot of research on, might be due to a good number of reasons, including wealth and prosperity, including people beginning to ask questions due to postmodernism and enlightenment, including people being too busy. So yes, there is that trend in inner London, and I think that at the same time there is also a surge. There is also a growth. I mean, I can mention a good number of churches that are seeing a great attendance and a great outpouring of people going in there seeking. And so I think that it's not a definite decline as you may think it is.
Okay, let's take our next caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Idris. Yeah.
Hi, Idris. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I want to sympathize with the Reverend first, because I'm sorry I didn't say it in any derogatory way, because I know he has to struggle to tell us whether religion is relevant these days. But my biggest problem is that religion is no longer relevant because of the activities of those who are supposed to propagate religion. What are we talking about when we say religion is relevant? Look at our society. People are free to do whatever they like. People don't even go to church or go to mosque any longer. The activities of the so-called men of God is so shameful these days. Just a few weeks ago, we are discussing on this same channel when the Bishop of England said people should be free to do whatever they like at that very age of 4 or 5. When we now have people of same-sex marriages in churches and in mosques. So what are we saying? But again, the beauty of it is that if you look at the scripture themselves, it's been foretold that these things are going to happen. But the danger is nobody believes in religion again. And that's my fear there. It's no longer working. Maybe we should look for another way to say it. But the truth of the matter is that if you look at our society today, religion is no longer relevant. It's not working anywhere. Those who are supposed to protect religion, they are the ones damaging that religion. Unfortunately, that's the problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, I thank you, Idris. But I would say that we also have to be very careful with the definition of terms here, because when you say something is relevant or irrelevant, what you're saying is that has it got a place in our society? Yeah. And I would say that yes, religion has a place in our society, and it's true that there are a lot of things that are going on, and historically, and that's what we have to understand, that historically it has been the trend. We have had different generations and different successions of things happening within religious communities over the years. It's not just a recent development. That has always been the case. In every society, there can be uses and abuses. And I always use this illustration of having a knife. A knife probably is manufactured as a tool in the house that can be used for good. At the same time, somebody can pick it up and use it to commit a crime. Yeah. And so that is where we have to sort of iron out the distinctions.
With what Reverend Claude is saying, I mean, a lot of people, especially when it comes to religion, people who do not believe and not have any religious beliefs, they tend to always bring up slavery days. They always talk about, you know, it was through Christianity that people were sold into slavery. And a lot of people too have also said that, listen, just as the pastor was saying, if somebody uses the tool for evil, you cannot paint all Christianity or Christians as being bad.
Well, it's no, you know, to say that Africans ourselves got Christianity and Islam, to say that we didn't get it via colonialism and slavery would just be historically incorrect. Correct, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So my thing now is, would your enslaver give you the keys to your salvation as they're enslaving you? I don't think it would be a very, you know, a good thing to give the people you're enslaving the keys to their salvation. I don't believe that Islam and Christianity are the salvation for African people. I don't. That's my personal thing. I think, in general, the slave master used the religion to keep you in line. I mean, I look at it like this. I can't pray to Jesus, and my slave master can't pray to Jesus, and we get both our prayers answered. Okay, because the slave master's praying for something else, probably to keep me in line, and I'm probably praying to kind of get out of slavery. So whose prayer is he going to answer? Okay, so, you know, for me to actually take on the religion and the God of your enslaver, to me, doesn't make any sense. We already, as Africans, had our own spiritual systems, and they worked just fine for us. We were told that they don't work for us, right? But they were working just fine. I think historically, we can find that Africans, you know, Africans not a utopia, but Africans did what Africans did with their own spiritual systems before Christianity and Islam came along. And before that, we had societies. Now, Africans build churches. They don't build societies, in my view.
Okay, Reverend.
Well, you are right to an extent, but then also there are certain